The movie begins with a married woman called Lana who is seen playing a guessing game with her daughter. As part of her daily routine, she goes for a run every morning and relaxes by the lake to clear her head. One day she is at school setting up a class test for her students. After providing them with some instructions, she wishes them good luck and tells them to start. However, one of the students named Benny, who is new to the school, does not write anything and keeps staring at Lana. Lana sees him staring at her but chooses to ignore it and looks away. The next day at school, a student is giving a presentation when two girls start giggling while looking at their phones. Lana warns them to put their phones away, but the two ignore her and continue disrupting the class. Lana gets angry and asks them to hand over their phones. One of the girls, Valerie, obliges, but before walking away, she cusses at her teacher and the entire class burst out in laughter, embarrassing Lana. Later during lunchtime, Lana is having a drink and is gazing out of the window. She notices Benny harassing Valerie. He throws her bag on the floor along with all of its contents. He then picks up her bicycle and smashes it onto the floor. Lana approaches Benny and takes him to an empty classroom to have a private word with him. She is unsure about where to start, so she pulls up a chair and sits in front of him. Lana then inquires as to how he is doing and whether he is enjoying his new school. Benny does not respond, and instead, strangely, he asks her what she wants from him. Lana mentions that she is concerned about him and does not approve of his behavior towards his fellow classmates. As the two continue talking, she puts her hand on his knee and asks if he needs any help from her. Benny looks straight at her and simply smiles and tells her that he doesn't think she will be able to help him. Lana tells him that she is thinking about his future because he has failed all of his tests up to this point. Benny continues to smile and again asks her what she really wants. Lana gets fed up of his games and leaves the room in a hurry. Later at home, Lana goes through the test results of all the students one by one. She comes across Benny's report, which is significantly lower in comparison to the other students, as she contemplates how to deal with him. The following day, Lana performs her daily routine and heads to school. After her classes, she packs her belongings and is about to leave when she notices Benny's bag on the floor. We then see her opening up his bag to check what's inside. She pulls out his sweatshirt and, surprisingly, she brings it close to her face and smells it. Here we understand that Lana is secretly attracted to Benny. Suddenly, they hears a door slam and she quickly shoves Benny's things back in the bag. Lana heads to the bathroom to catch her breath. She has some water to calm down. Suddenly, Benny enters the bathroom and catches her off guard. He wastes no time and approaches her from behind. He holds her hand and starts touching her before she even realizes what is happening. She reluctantly pushes his hand away, but Benny doesn't stop. He touches her again and begins kissing her neck. Lana is carried away by the moment but quickly regains her senses. She tells him to stop and apologizes. She tells him that this should never happen again and warns him that he can get expelled from school for this. Benny knows that he is playing with fire, but he shouts at Lana that he knows that she wants him. Lana tells him that she cannot have feelings for her students and could get into serious trouble. That evening when Lana is in bed, she can't stop thinking about Benny and what they did. It leaves her all hot and sweaty as she plays the incident through her mind again and again. The next day at school, Lana assigns some classwork to the students, but as usual, Benny just sits there and keeps on staring at her. She tries to get him to do some work, but he just sits there, gazing into her eyes. After class, she walks down the hall when Benny approaches her and invites her to meet him after school. Lana is very worried and hopes no one overhears them talking. She takes him near the stairs and apologizes again for what happened between them. She pleads with him to forget about her because it violates the school's strict rules, and later leaves. Later, after school finishes, Lana is just about to jump into her car when she sees that her car's mirror smashed and the door has been scratched. She looks around but doesn't see anyone. She gets into her car and drives to pick up her daughter. Later that evening, when her husband arrives home, he asks what happened to the car. Surprisingly, she tells him that she brushed past a lamppost and it was nothing. Her husband has a puzzled look on his face as he is not sure how the car could have been damaged by a lamppost. Lana is unable to tell her husband the truth. The following day, Lana instructs her students to write a cover letter for an internship and mention why they're qualified for the specific position. Before letting them start their classwork, she asks if anybody has any questions. Benny raises his hand and asks if it is necessary to go to any extent just to get a job. This makes Lana very nervous as he is playing with her feelings. The whole class starts laughing, which makes Lana very uncomfortable. She abruptly tells Benny that he needs to go immediately to the administration office. Again, Benny asks if she enjoys going beyond the limit for the sake of her job. Lana has enough of Benny and picks up his bag and throws it out of the class and tells him to get out. The other students in the class start taking Benny's side and one of them throws something at her. Lana has no choice and storms out of the classroom amidst loud cheering from the students. In the next scene, Lana is seen reading a book to her daughter when the telephone rings repeatedly. Every time she picks it up, nobody speaks. Thinking it may be Benny, she unplugs the phone for the night. The next day when Lana goes to school, she sees Benny in the classroom, which makes her nervous. She tells her colleagues that she is unwell and heads home. Later that evening, when her husband arrives home and asks about her day, she lies and tells him that she had a very busy day at school and had a lot of work on. The following day, Lana drops off her daughter at school and instead of going to work, she pulls over by the riverside for some fresh air. Lana then decides to go to the museum where she spots Benny. She begins to panic and tries to quickly get away. Just as she is about to get into an elevator to leave, Benny quickly makes his way in and joins her. He tells her to come back to school because he misses her. He then begins to fondle and tease her. When she can no longer resist, she tries to kiss him, but he doesn't allow her to. When she tries kissing him again he stops her. Clearly Benny is enjoying playing with her feelings and has her exactly where he wants her. That evening, Lana is with her husband and she tells him about her recurring nightmare. She sees herself drowning and no matter what she does, she can't seem to get out of it. Her husband tells her that it sounds like she has a lot on her mind. She doesn't tell him that she has been fantasizing about Benny. He tells her not to worry and everything will be fine. The next day, we see Lana going into school and she sneaks into the administrator's office. Before anyone sees her, she takes an upcoming examination paper and puts it in Benny's coat. Lana decided the night before that this was the best way to try and get him out of her life without anyone finding out what she did. Later during the lunch hour, all the students are having their meal in the cafeteria while Lana is having a drink. Suddenly we see Benny being detained by security. Later we learn that he has been expelled from school. That night, Lana has the same dream where she is drowning. She wakes up frightened when her husband wakes her up. The next day, we see Lana thinking about Benny even though she was responsible for getting him expelled. She thinks back at how he used to stare at her intensely. She fantasizes about being fondled by him and this makes her feel all weak inside. Sometime later, Lana and her daughter are at a bookstore shopping for a birthday present for her friend. She picks up a stuffed toy for herself but Lana tells her she can't have it. When her daughter plays up, Lana decides to teach her a lesson and walks away. When she looks back for her, she panics when she can't see her. She rushes back and begins looking all over the store. Some time passes and when she is unable to find her, Lana becomes very worried and goes to the police station. She desperately tells the police what happened and they all go back to the store to have a look at the CCTV footage. When they look over the tape, she is horrified when she sees Benny with her daughter. Lana has trouble breathing and fears the worst. Suddenly she receives a call from her husband who tells her that her daughter has arrived home. Upon hearing this, she is so relieved and rushes home. That evening when everybody is asleep, Lana hears loud banging on the door. She carefully goes to see what it could be. Luckily, it's just the wind from outside and she locks the door. In the back of her mind, she begins thinking that this could all be down to Benny who is seeking revenge for what she did. Later at night, again she begins thinking about Benny and having wild thoughts. She is interrupted by her husband early in the morning who looks at her strangely. Consumed by thoughts of Benny, we see Lana driving to Benny's house later that day where she parks up. A short while later, Benny appears and gets on his scooter and rides off. Lana quickly follows him. As he rides on, they soon come to an abandoned area. Suddenly, we see Lana put her foot down and drive straight into Benny, sending him flying off his scooter. She then pulls over to take a look at Benny who appears to be dead. Lana was unable to live with the idea that Benny could ruin her life whenever he wanted and decided he was better off dead, and the movie ends there. You guys are awesome if you have made it this far in the video. If you want to see more of such movie recaps, hit the subscribe button to become part of our movie family.